Okay, let's unpack this. We've got a fascinating stack of source material in front of us today, all focused on one specific place in India, the state of Bihar.
That's right. And these sources, well, they give us a really rich picture, exploring Bihar's past, its present, and sort of getting to the heart of its people's spirit.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission with this deep dive is really to cut through all that information, pull out the absolute key nuggets, find the surprising facts that might challenge some ideas you have.
Hmm.
We want to understand what makes Bihar, well, Bihar.
And from what we've seen, it feels like they want us to see it as a place where ancient legends aren't just dusty history books.
Right.
They're still alive, kind of meeting the energy and the changes of the modern world. It's quite a mix. Maybe not what you'd first expect.
That sounds like a journey worth taking. Let's jump right into that history then, because these sources really emphasize the incredibly deep roots here. We're talking ancient.
Absolutely. And what's really striking is the focus on Nalanda University. I mean, think about this. According to these sources, over 1,500 years ago, this wasn't just some local school.
No.
It was a major global intellectual hub. It was pulling in students and monks from places like Tibet, China, Korea.
Wow. Can you imagine the scale of that back then? The reach?
It really put things into perspective.
Yeah.
And this region, it wasn't just about learning. It was the core of powerful empires.
Yeah.
The sources tell us this was the land of Magad, ruled by emperors like Ashoka the Great. I mean, this isn't just local history. It's history that shaped the whole subcontinent.
And the significance doesn't stop there, does it?
Yeah.
The religious stuff highlighted is profound.
Totally. It's where Lord Buddha attained enlightenment,
Yeah.
Under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya.
Right. And Mahavira, the founder of Jainism, born there too.
Exactly. So this area was like a cradle for these huge philosophical religious movements that still influence millions today.
There's a line in the material that really, it jumped out at me. They say Bihar was writing philosophy when some other parts of the world were. Well, let's just say less developed.
Yeah, that's a powerful claim. It really is.
What does that tell us about the kind of intellectual landscape they're describing?
It implies, I think, a really sophisticated level of thought, debate, intellectual work happening there at a time when, that kind of organized philosophy was pretty rare globally.
So it positions Bihar as this significant early contributor to world thought, not just absorbing ideas, but creating them.
Precisely.
Okay, so from that incredible history, the sources then shift to the culture. They paint this picture of a really vibrant culture. I liked the analogy they use comparing Bihari culture to a spicy thali.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one. That makes you think of a plate full of different, strong, maybe even clashing flavors all working together somehow.
Yeah, what were some of those flavors they pointed out?
Well, you get a real range. On one hand, they talk about these soulful, really emotional Bhojpuri songs. And then, contrasting that, you have these high-energy folk dances like Jachatin and Vaidisha. So it sounds like there's both real depth and this dynamic energy.
And one thing they really zoomed in on was the festival of Chhath Puja. The description was just beautiful. They called it one of the most peaceful spiritual festivals.
It sounds visually stunning, too, the way they described it. Women standing in the water, sunrise, sunset, offering prayers right to the sun god.
Yeah, it feels very personal, very connected to nature, a really unique spiritual practice.
And adding to that whole cultural mix, you've got the languages, the materialists of the Bhojpuri, Maithili, and Biahi as key languages spoken there.
Right, each with its own distinct sort of flavor and literature, presumably.
Exactly, adds another layer to that thali.
Okay, moving on from culture, the sources seem quite keen to address something important, the perception of people from Bihar. They seem to want to challenge maybe some narrow or outdated stereotypes you might have.
Absolutely. Yeah, instead of just listing facts about the place, they really highlight the people and their impact. And they often use examples that kind of push back against simplistic views.
And they start right at the top, don't they? Pointing to individuals who literally shaped the nation. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, India's first president, from Bihar.
Yep. And another huge figure mentioned is Jayaprakash Narayan, JP. He played that massive role standing against Indira Gandhi during the emergency.
These aren't minor figures. These are people of immense national importance. It shows a legacy of leadership, of conviction.
Definitely. And beyond those big names, the sources make this broader claim, maybe more surprising to some, about the presence of Biharis across India today.
Ah, yes. They said Biharis are prominent as IAS officers,
No.
engineers, coders, across different sectors.
Right, so what does that suggest? It points to a really significant presence in key administrative technical fields nationwide.
It challenges that idea that Biharis are maybe confined to certain types of work.
Exactly. It shows they're contributing at high levels right across the country's professional landscape.
Okay, here's where it gets really modern, according to the sources. They make this bold claim. Bihari YouTubers are ruling the internet. Ruling it.
Huh. Yeah, strong words.
How are they defining that? What's the secret sauce there?
Well, the sources seem to put it down to their wit and will. And this is key. They often do it without needing fancy studios.
Okay.
So it implies their success isn't really about, big budgets or fancy equipment. It's more about innate creativity, relatable stuff, and just sheer determination, resourcefulness.
That's a fascinating picture of digital influence kind of bubbling up.
So we've seen the ancient history, the dynamic people. How are these sources describing Bihar now? Is it still just, ancient ruins and wheat fields in the collective imagination?
Not according to this material, no. They really emphasize that modern Bihar is changing significantly, especially in the cities. Patna, the capital, is highlighted as growing fast.
What kind of growth are we talking about?
Well, they list things like new IITs, AIMS, which signals growth in top-tier education and healthcare, right?
Big institutions.
Plus malls, cafes, even upcoming metro lines. It paints a picture of, increasing urbanization, modernization, better infrastructure.
And the young people in this changing place, how are they described?
They're characterized as tech-savvy, politically aware, and love this possessing Desi Jugad.
Ah, Jugad. That fantastic word for resourceful ingenuity, making things work.
Exactly. That ability to innovate, problem solve, often with limited resources.
They gave a brilliant example for that, didn't they? Gen Z in Bihar balancing
Yeah.
one hand on ChatGPT, other hand on election debates.
Yeah. What does that juxtaposition tell you?
It just perfectly captures that blend. They're
Yeah.
totally engaged with cutting-edge global tech using AI tools,
Right?
while simultaneously being deeply rooted and engaged in their local political scene. It's that unique mix, global outlook, local commitment.
And despite all this modern stuff, the tech savviness, the sources make a point that they still hold on to their roots. They give that simple example, still using phrases like "kahala," "how are you?" for greetings, even while navigating this modern world. It's a nice touch.
It shows the culture is still alive, even with the changes.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, the deep history, the vibrant culture, the resilient, often surprising people, and these signs of modern change. What's the enduring significance of Bihar, according to these sources? Why does it still matter?
Well, the material conveys something more than just geography. It describes Bihar not just as a state, but almost as an emotion. It carries this certain historical weight, this cultural identity that runs really deep.
And what are the key lessons that this emotion, this place, teaches us, based on what's in the sources?
They pull out some powerful ideas, like you don't need gold palaces to be royal, suggesting true richness isn't about material wealth.
Right, echoes of that intellectual history, perhaps.
Maybe. And that knowledge matters more than just how things look on the outside. And crucially, that having strong roots, that's what really helps you face the storms life throws at you.
Now, the sources don't paint a perfect picture. They're honest about the challenges.
No, they don't shy away from them at all. Poverty, those devastating floods, complex politics, it's all mentioned. Real struggles.
So how does this state, this emotion, face up to those difficulties?
This is where the material kind of ends on a really strong, defiant note. It portrays Bihar as fighting back, actively fighting against these struggles.
Okay. And how does it fight back?
According to the sources, it fights back with brains, with heart, and with unbeatable zid.
Zid, that's a powerful word. It's not just stubbornness, is it? It's more like fierce resolve.
Exactly, an unbreakable determination, that refusal to quit no matter what.
Wow. So we've taken this deep dive through the source material, haven't we? Exploring Bihar's incredible history, its vibrant, multi-layered culture.
Yeah, and the often surprising strengths and contributions of its people, and the changes happening right now.
It's clear from everything we've read, this place is presented as far more than just a state on a map. It really is portrayed as a beating heart of Indian heritage and resilience.
Absolutely.
And if there's one thing these sources consistently seem to highlight about Bihar, it's that powerful mix. Valuing knowledge, showing resilience when things get tough.
And possessing that unbeatable zid, that determination.
Exactly. It really makes you think, doesn't it, about where true strength comes from and how maybe having those deep roots is what grounds you even as you're reaching for the future. Something to mull over.